Hello you guys, welcome to the Ranting Shop. Today I'm going to be talking about Shacarri Richardson because I have had it with this conversation. At the end of the day, she did what she did and she got what she got, and I am just sick of the victimization that black people love to use. This is not a situation of racial proportions, and I'm just absolutely sick of the conversation. But anyways, let's just get into this really quickly. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Shacarri Richardson I think she's a 100-meter runner, and recently she tested positively for a illegal substance in her body, and that caused her to be banned for 13, or should I say suspended for 30 days because of her actions, and as a result she would not be able to participate in the 2021 Olympic Games. People are up in arms, people are upset. However, she took responsibility for her actions. She knew her actions were wrong. She knew the rules and she willingly broke them. Now, I have a huge issue with people calling this a mistake. It was not a mistake. I do not believe that mistakes are something that people willingly do, knowing the consequences of their actions. If you willingly decide to do something and you know that after you do this thing, there are going to be consequences attached to that thing, it's no longer a mistake to me. It's just a point in your life where you did not care. That's not a mistake. I do not characterize that as a mistake at all. So for me, that alone is an issue. The other thing about it is that people are trying to defend her and in a sense almost say that the rules should be changed for her. They want her to kind of have this preferential treatment because they know her story, they feel empathetic towards her because her mom died and she had a weak moment and she did something she shouldn't have done. However, rules are rules. It does not matter what the backstory of you breaking those rules were. They were implemented for a reason, and nobody could change them. As far as I know, no one has seemed to get themselves in a tizzy over these rules before. Like, because it's somebody that they're interested in and that they were rooting for, it became this huge issue. And that's my thing of this preferential treatment. If you're gonna say, oh, change the rules for her, then rules should be changed for everybody else, period. If you're not willing to have that conversation, then don't talk about change the rules because she deserves it so much because this and that happened to her. If she really wanted to race, she wouldn't have done that, and that's just what it is. And the US ATF staff, the USA Track and Field Commission or organization, wrote or summed up all of my thoughts and feelings about the situation. So I'm just gonna read it. So they basically said all USA athletes are equally aware of and adhere to the current anti-doping code, and our credibility as the national governing body would be lost if rules were only enforced under certain circumstances. So while our heartfelt understanding lies with Shacarri, we must also maintain fairness for all of the athletes who attempted to realize their dreams by securing a place on the US Olympic track and field team. This is exactly what my thoughts and feelings are about this situation. Although I do empathize and even I sympathize with her and her loss and her whole situation, however, I cannot bring myself to ever agree to things that are unfair. So in my opinion, it's like if you break the rules and you are aware that you broke the rules and you're taking accountability for breaking the rules, where's the issue? It's really not even her stirring up the controversy. It's people, it's mostly black people in the comment sections on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, going hard for her and wanting the rules to change for her and making her this victim, like she didn't purposely do this to herself. That's what I hate about black people. Something is always a racial issue. When somebody willingly does something wrong or illegal, it's never their fault. It's always A, B, C, D, and E's fault. And that's the biggest issue I have. Because when you keep yourself in perpetual victimhood, what you're doing is removing accountability from yourself. And when you remove accountability for yourself, that is where the entitlement grows. Then you feel as if you're able to do any and everything without consequences. And there is a problem with that. There is a huge problem with that. And that is something that we do not want to grow within the black community. Because then we'll be overtaken by a bunch of unlawful people who feel entitled to do what they do because they don't want to hold themselves accountable or take into account the fact that they're breaking laws. I don't like it. It sets a terrible precedence, right? And they want to liken this situation to the Michael Phelps situation when in actuality they're two different situations. She took the drugs prior to knowing that she would eventually have to take drug tests. But she did it anyway. However, people are trying to say that Michael Phelps tested positively for the drug, the same drug in question, and was still able to participate. That is a lie. That is a lie. Several news articles stated that in 2009, he was suspended for 3 months by the USA swim team for a picture that he took smoking from a bong. A picture that he took smoking from a bong. Alright? People are up in arms because they're thinking that this man got tested positively and was still allowed to swim. He was not tested. He did not test positively for the drug. The picture, was floating around 2009, ahead of the games. He had already swam. He had already won his medals. That is when that picture became a thing. That is when that picture started floating around. The next year is when that picture got floated around, and he was suspended for 3 months for that picture. Before the Olympics, before he swam and after he took those drug tests and everything like that, it was negative for these substances. He did not have any banned substances in his system prior to him swimming. It was only after the fact that that picture started floating around and they suspended him for 3 months. And he did not even have the substance in his body at that time. And people want to talk about unfairness. People want to talk about her being treated badly and her being treated unfairly. He was treated badly. He was treated unfairly because the substance wasn't even in his body at that time. He was able to swim because he had no illegal substance in his body. He swam, everything was cool until that picture started surfacing. And when the people got hold of that picture, he got suspended for 3 months. And you guys want to compare this to someone that got tested positively for an illegal substance and was banned for only 30 days. You want to compare these two issues? Do these two issues seem the same to you? Do these issues seem the same to you? Everything is not of racial proportions. Why does everything have to be a racial thing? Why does everything have to be a discrimination thing? Oh, they don't want to see black women win. They don't want to see black women do that. BS. Black women have been running track and field. Shelly Ann Fraser, Jamaica. Several women. Black women. So you can't make the excuse of, oh, I feel like she should be allowed to play. What you feel like does not matter. The rules are the rules. Something so simple to comprehend has become this complex issue, and it doesn't have to be that. And people are calling for boycotts of the Olympics because their favorite track and field player is not going to be allowed to play. That seems like childishness to me at this point. Because at the end of, and it's also selfish. Because at the end of the day, Shacarri is not the only black woman that would be participating in the Olympics. America has several black women that are going to be representing them for the Olympics in various fields. We have a black woman for the shot put. We have a black woman for swimming. We have a black woman, Miss Simone Biles, for my favorite sport to watch, gymnastics. And we have another black woman that will be representing. So there's black women representing. So for people to say, oh, they just want to see representation, you guys are being represented. Why is it always an issue of racial proportions? Why? Why is it that the first thing black people jump to is, oh, we're being discriminated against. Oh, it's a racial thing. Why? Everything is not a racial thing. This situation was so black and white that even I was baffled as to the amount of outrage that I saw on social media. People are even telling me that I don't have a right to have an opinion because I'm not from the US. But at the end of the day, the Olympics is an international sport. It's an international sporting meet. So I do have a right to say something. My country is going to be there. And other black nations are going to be there. I have a right to say how I feel. And since the Olympics is a big international organization, I definitely have a right to say something. Because at this point, I'm just really sick of it. I understand that there's been a lot of hurt. I understand that there's been a lot of pain, but everything is not about race. You don't see her complaining and talking about boycott the Olympics. You don't see her saying that. It's people saying these things. And people that knew better. And the hypocritical thing about it is those popular basketball players and NFL players, they also are not allowed to ingest any amount of that substance. And they know if they were to do it, they would be banned or suspended. Period. There would be no uproar about it. There would be no, oh, let's boycott the NFL. There would be none of that. So why all of a sudden is there that in this case? I don't get it, you guys. Anyways, that's all I have to say about the Shacarri Richardson situation. You guys, let me know if you agree, if you disagree. And the thing about my channel, I want it to be a place where people could disagree. I have no issues with people disagreeing with me, because at the end of the day, I actually don't like when there's only one side of a situation being agreed to and being, defended. I want to hear other people's points of view, and we could argue respectfully in the comment section. Let's argue respectfully, if you disagree. Anyways, you guys, like and subscribe, and be sure to stay tuned for another episode of The Ranting Shop with your girl, Melissa. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye.